Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week. Featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with CEO, keeper of the brand marketing and digital agency, Donyshia Boston-Hill, and we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship. We bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview top business leaders in the industry.
Helping provide you with business empowerment today is Venus Cruté, TV and radio host and celebrity voiceover actress, and she's releasing a new book, Shades of Love, a compilation of poetry on a quest for love. Venus, welcome to the show.
Hey, Donyshia, how are you? Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. We're very excited.
Me too.
So tell us a little bit. You're a TV and radio host, and you've written a book. Why don't you tell us about yourself, how you kind of got involved in this world?
How I got involved in this world? Ooh, do we have time for all of that?
Well, we got 27 minutes or so.
We got 27 minutes. Listen, I grew up wanting to act, model, and sing. Got into radio actually by accident and voiceover by accident. But books are by accident too. You know, all kinds of good things could happen by accident. You know, that's why you just never let anything pass you. So I started radio, I don't know, back in 2003 or 4, I think, Donyshia, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Kiss FM, 98.7 Kiss FM. Miss it so much. When it went away, I started my own show called the R&B Bistro. And that was driven by radio. To me is wonderful. I love it and I miss it. But it would play some things back then and the B-side was better. And I wanted to play the B-side, and I wanted to talk to artists and give them more opportunity to talk more about their whole album, not just that one song that was deemed should be played. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I started a show called the R&B Bistro, and I would bring on artists, unknown artists and business owners, people to give them a voice so that they can live their dreams, and I'd interview them. And then that radio show kind of went away because I came from Kiss, and that was, you know, everything was done tip-top shape, right and tight. And this station wasn't doing that. So I said, okay, let me do something else. I went to a networking meeting and they said, oh, you can, if you get involved with this station, you could have your own TV show. What? Yes. I always wanted to do that. So I went to a meeting like that and started. And that show was a derivative of the radio show called the R&B Bistro Up Close and Personal, where we sit down for 27 minutes and we have a conversation with the artist or with the writer. It started out as just music, gospel, jazz, and R&B, because those are my favorite genres of music. And I sing jazz and I sing gospel. So I wanted to mesh them all together. So I would play all of those things and start a show with a motivational statement and end the show. Just like when I was on the radio, I'd end the show with a motivational statement because I love motivating people and getting them to do what they want to do in life. Now, so that's how that show was born.
How did you get the name Venus?
Girl, my father was into Greek mythology. Mm. And if I was a little boy, I would have been Hercules. Thank God I wasn't a puny little boy. Okay. And if I was a girl, I was going to be Venus. So I'm Venus. Didn't like my name till I was 13 because they called me everything but Venus. You know how kids can be so mean. But when I found out it was the goddess of love and beauty, then you couldn't call me anything but Venus.
Okay.
I love it. Now, the transition into doing a book, when did you decide you wanted to become a writer?
Okay, again, I didn't.
It chose you.
Happy accident.
It chose me. Yeah. Every morning on Kiss, I would give a motivational statement, just a statement. And then at the end, I would break it down because it had several meanings. And I would write those down every day and keep them. So when Kiss went away for me, I said, okay, I should turn this into a book. That was supposed to be the first book. And I got it already and I had some publishing issues. And so that didn't come to fruition. Then I was working this job answering phones And I'm a telecom person too. So I have a telecom background. I have a human resource background, but I was answering phones in this call center, which I did not like. Okay. And so to keep me motivated and not going crazy and being pleasant when I answer the phone, I started writing. And I was writing a story about women and their lives. And it's 2.5 chapters done. And it's about 5 different women and the different experiences that they have. And so when the phone would ring, I'm writing and I go, why is that phone ringing? But that's what I was supposed to be there to do, answer the phone, So that was supposed to be the second book. And then one day I had this dream because I wasn't in a relationship, and I had this dream. And in the dream, this line came into me. I met the man of my dreams last night. I hope he can find me in the morning light. So in the dream, I said, that's a nice line. I hope I remember it when I wake up. And when I woke up, I did. So I put it on Facebook and I said, do you think this is a poem, a song, or a real life experience? And people said to me, oh, it's a poem. Oh, it's a song. I said, no, it's a real life experience. But if you want it to be a poem, I'll write it. And so I sat down right then and wrote it. So that's how that book started. Well, that's how that book started, but it wasn't going to be a book at the time. It was just a poem.
What brought you to write The Shades of Love?
That was the first poem that told me to write the Shades of Love. And after that, about 2 months later, I had the same dream about the same man. And I woke up and I got upset because I said, this is a dream. This is not really happening. So I wrote another poem that encompassed and talked about that. And so then things kept happening to me in my life, and I'm writing poems. And I'm in bed writing them on my phone, and I would put them aside if I got stuck. And in the morning, I would get up and start writing again. And it grew to about 10 poems. I said, oh, I think I'll make this a book, And then I said, so they kept coming. We got to 15. I said, oh, this is good. This is really going to be a good, nice, short book. And then someone said to me, I was sharing them with some people, my close friends along the way. And they were like, you should go to 20. I said, I don't have 20. But then things kept coming. When I got to 22, I got stuck. But then 23, 24, 25 came. I said, okay, I'm capping this. And so I said, all right, I'm going to make this a book, and we're going to call it Shades of Love, because the book is about love from beginning to end, the middle, all the things, the ups and downs that happen in between, and finding love, towards the end. And if you look at the table of contents in the book, it kind of leads you that way. So the title of the table of contents tells you what the poems are going to be behind that. And so it became a book.
Love it. And I can't imagine, I read a lot myself, and I'm not a big audiobooks person because sometimes the voice throws me off of the story. Did you put a lot of thought into the audiobook version of that? Was there someone in particular did it have to be you? How did that work?
Well, I am a voice actor.
Right.
So it has to be me.
I love it. Yep.
It has to be me. And it's about love. And I just recently came back from a couple of conferences, and I took one on audiobooks, because I wasn't really doing too many things with audiobooks, but I took one on audiobooks, and I was talking to a prominent voice actor that's all he does is audiobooks. And he says, of course you have to do your book. And of course you could enter this arena, a voiceover, because that's not an arena of voiceover that I do. So he said, of course you have to enter this arena with your book. So yeah, when I put it together as an audiobook, it will be me.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, it makes such a difference. There's definitely an art to that. And, with the wrong person doing it, and obviously in speaking to you today, we know you're the right person.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What would you say is kind of your most interesting writing ability or a quirk? Every writer has something to them that really makes them unique and defines them. What is that for you?
I think, I've always been told that I write well, no matter what it is I'm writing. I've always been told I write well. And, sometimes you don't give yourself the credit that you should. So sometimes you should listen to other people, But when I write, and sometimes even when I talk, and poems don't always have to rhyme. But with me, sometimes I say things and they rhyme, and I don't mean to do that. So, and it just flows that way. And I go, oh, that sounds good. So a lot of things that happen with me are spontaneity. That's why in radio, Donyshia, I was always told, our mentors in radio were always saying, write down what you're going to say. If I write down what I'm going to say, it will not come out that way. because half the time I look at it and then I'm going to hit the key points that you're supposed to hit, but I put them, they're ingrained, and then I go and talk. But if I look at what I'm going to say, that's not happening. because I deviate with spontaneity. I deviate from that, I guess, to make it me.
And more
and
authentic.
Yes. I always believe you should be you. And I would meet people out, when we did radio, I would meet people out in the audience, when we go travel to do events. And people would say, well, I've had somebody say to me, I wanted to talk to you, but I was scared to come up to you. You look busy. I said, no, if you see me out anywhere, come and talk to me, introduce yourself. If you want something with me, let me know, because I couldn't do what I do if it wasn't for you. So I always try to be who I am all the time. There's no phoniness here. You get who you get. You get who you get all the time. It's the same person.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, and our guest today is Venus Cruté, TV and radio host and celebrity voiceover actor and author of her new book, The Shades of Love, a compilation of poetry on a quest for love.
Now, Venus, you mentioned this gentleman that you kept having a dream about. So tell us a little bit more about him, and, is he still coming to you in your dreams? Is he helping you write your poetry?
He's not coming to me in my dreams. Not yet. I hope he comes back, because I need him.
Now we're going to dive deep. What is your life mission? This is a Donyshia question for sure.
Absolutely. I can see that. My life mission is to help and motivate people with any kind of talent that God gives me. In anything that he has given me, I act, I sing, I do poetry, I'm a radio and TV host. It's all of those gifts are meant to share, so that people will know that they can too do the same thing. And that's the premise of the show. It's bringing in, Donyshia has been on the show. I think she's been on the show twice. So I bring people doing things kind of like you guys are doing, bring people doing things that people want to do, careers that people want to do, to show them how these people did it straight from their mouth, and to let them know that they can do it too. So I want to be remembered for someone that always lended a helping hand, someone that you can always talk straight to and get information that you need. I mean, people stop me in the store, all kinds of stores, to talk about anything. And if I'm with a girlfriend, she'll say, do you know them? And I go, no. At the train station, they'll come and they'll stop and tell me their stories. And one day I said to God, I hope I don't see this person tomorrow, because I need to fill back up, because I pour out whatever I have to give to you when I speak to you. And I needed to replenish, because this one day I emptied everything I had. So that's just what I do. When I said, sometimes I don't want to talk. So I used to say, well, is there something written across the top of my forehead that says, come talk to me? Because people keep talking to me. But I'm a talker. My grade school report card said, Venus is an excellent student if she just learned to stop talking.
And now you transition the talking into love of poetry, love of yourself, and sharing that with other people. Who's your target audience? Like, is it male? Is it female? I mean, love is such a broad topic. Who are you speaking to directly in your book?
I'm not really I'm speaking to everyone. Okay. I'm speaking to men. I'm speaking to women. I'm speaking to anyone that needs help, knowing that relationships and what you do in every relationship, not just love relationships, are very important. Communication is very important. How you say what you say to people is very important. And what's also important to me is mental health and dementia and suicide. There's so many people that have things going on that they think there's no one there to talk to them about it. And you have to listen to the things they say, listen to the things they don't say, watch their movements and their actions, because there's always clues in how they feel. Your words. If you see somebody walking down the street, or you're in a store, or you're on a job or whatever, and you just say something really nice to that person, you can't imagine how that changed that person's day.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's important in every relationship to think about the other person and treat them how you want to be treated. That's husband and wife. That's male, female. That's whatever. That's mother, child. That's mothers. You know what I'm saying? It's everybody. Conversation and the way you speak to people and the emotion that you give them is very important. And it's love has always been important to me since I was a teenager. I was in love with love. So for real. So it's like no secret that eventually God would have me write a book talking about love.
Absolutely. And so your book touches on life experiences of love, the joy, the pain, the disappointment, and the passion. How did you pull from those experiences internally and really start to write them down? Because that's a lot of emotion. You talk about a journey of emotion. You know, that must be tiring. You know, you're having a roller coaster ride as you're writing your poetry.
Yes. Well, the first song I ever wrote, I have to go back there because that's kind of where that started. I wrote a poem in 1977 about love, and it's in the book, and that was like, oh, let me grab this one because I need to get to number whatever. Let me grab this one too. It's the first one in there, and it's pretty liked. And I'm like, I wrote it in 1977. Okay. I was in high school, telling my age. Yuck. Anyway, so yes, the emotions, to me, I need to write to get them out. That's how I purge. So when things bother me, I talk about it to myself, to whoever will listen, or I'll write them down. And back to the song, I was kind of going through all kinds of emotional turmoil, breaking up from a relationship when I moved out here to Jersey. And I've been out here a pretty long time. And I couldn't sleep until I got up and wrote down what was inside of me. And after I finished that, I slept like a baby. So I take the emotions that bother me or that make me happy, whatever they are, and I purge them and put them on paper. So that's how that happens. And it actually is working out good because it turned into a book.
Absolutely. And so, having a name like Venus, you're definitely an expert from birth, right? Ordained to be, the living goddess of love here.
Sweet.
And so how do you connect your words that you wrote with your audience? Are you sharing them? Because I really would like you to, raise a movie buff. And I know you do a lot of voiceovers work. So for those people, we want to ensure that they understand that the amazing expert that you are. Can you share some of your past voiceover work, titles or projects that you've been involved in?
Okay. I did the Disney Cruise Line for the 2023 ship. Wow. So there was a commercial on HGTV and Lifetime. And it was so funny. That's the first time I had heard a commercial on TV. And I was in the hospital with my mom, and we were doing something, and I heard this sound. I said, "Ooh, that's I know those words. It sounds like me." So I looked up and I saw it was just going off. And I said, "That's me." And my mother said, "Where?" I said, "On the TV." On the TV. So Disney, I do a lot of corporate things. I do a lot of commercials also for different products, like a bank or whatever, or hotels. But they're airing, those basically air out of state in different states. But a lot of it is corporate stuff. And when I do corporate stuff, it goes on their YouTube page or my YouTube page or whatever. So I was up for this ABC murder series, and I was so excited about that. And they cut me right before the show aired. I had finished the whole first episode, and I was waiting for it to air, and my agent was telling people all about it. I wasn't telling anybody about it. And the day I told somebody about it, I got a note that I didn't see over the weekend that said, "Oh, Venus, they kind of went in a different direction." I was like, "What?" But that just shows you that there's disappointment and ups and downs in everything. And what you do with that is try to brush it off your shoulder and keep moving to the next one. Yeah. Because that voiceover world is a wonderful world. To me, it's the best world in entertainment because the people are very nice and very helpful, and they're not really cutthroat. And I'm always very candid. If you look in the other industries of entertainment, there's some stuff, that's kind of not nice. But in voiceover, I'm not saying there may not be one or two, but in voiceover, it's kind of hard to find because everybody helps you. Everybody wants you to succeed. And although we're in competition for each other, we're not in competition for each other because the producers and the directors and the writers who write a commercial, they hear something in their head and they want to hear, they don't know who that voice is. And sometimes they don't know who they want, even when they say, "Oh, we want a person that sounds like this," or sounds like, Jada Pinkett, or sounds like Michelle Obama, or sounds like Viola Davis. That's what they think until they hear the person reading their lines, and then they'll switch. And sometimes they'll say to you, especially if it's on, we don't see them, right? So they go, we want to hear you sound like what's in our head. Well, how do we know what's in your head? So if you're in front of them, then you can say, let me hear what you're hearing. And then you can duplicate that. But if you're not in front of them, and yet we do all our auditioning at home now, 90% of our auditioning is done at home now. We don't know what they see or what they hear. They give us descriptions, but it's a whole bunch of stuff packed in that description. And sometimes they're at their opposite ends of the fence. You go, okay, now which one do they want me to be? So you pick one and be you and hope that it catches, and that's who they pick. But there's so many talented people out here. So I'm just blessed to be able to do it. I do it full time now, and it's hard, but I would not trade it.
Now, for that Pixar executive who might be listening, they've got to hire you. We've got to get you in there.
And I need another series.
Yes. I'd love to hear from you. I mean, that's wonderful to hear how the voiceover world works and, your inspirations and so forth. What advice would you give someone who's looking to kind of get into that industry?
Study. I started out reading some books. Mm-hmm. So when I went to KISS, I was a voice actor. And so when I did the first commercial there, they said, oh, you sound like a professional. Yeah, because I trained. I'm voiceover. Radio was a byproduct of voiceover for me. So you need to train. Everyone has a beautiful voice. Well, there are all kinds of voices. Let me put it that way. And because someone tells you have a beautiful voice does not mean you'll make a good voiceover person. You need to have studied. You need to train with people. You need to know how to take direction. Because a lot of it is direction. And you could be sitting in a Zoom meeting like this or standing in front of people, and there could be about 5 or 6 people in that room giving you direction. And you need to hit it all, and be confident that you can give them what they ask for, and if you give it to them in 1 or 2 takes, they love you. But you need to study. There are all kinds of books out there. Find a mentor. And definitely take some training. And when you do your demos, you need to be fully trained before you go and do a demo. Don't take a weekend class where they say, oh, at the end of this class, you're going to have a demo. No, it takes us years to hone our craft. And we still hone our craft every day, every month, or every year, rather. We're going to conferences 2 and 3 times a year to network with our peers and also to learn and to train with top coaches.
Are there any organizations that you would recommend?
There are some that you have to have a lot of professional work. The world of voice actors, you have to have professional work to get into that one. I would say not until you actually get involved. You need to get involved first. There's Facebook pages, of course. And because the industry is so helpful, there's technical Facebook pages. So a lot of us do our own editing now before we send them off to auditions, and we have to have a home studio. Everybody has to have a home studio, and your home studio has to be regular studio quality, as if you went into an NBC or an ABC station and you recorded. So if you don't know how to do that, you got to get somebody to help you do that. And people can do that with you online, or they can come out because they know how to tell you where to put everything. Now, I'm in a treated room. I'm not in a brick studio, because you could have those and put them in your house too. I'm in a treated room. But for me to get that room to be broadcast quality, I studied first online, and then we have go-to engineers, 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and they can come out to your studio, or they can online say, send me some copy that you've read. And there's software involved, so you got to learn the software. Send me some copy that you've read in your studio, and let me test the noise level. Let me see if your mic is good. All of that kind of stuff. So it's a very intricate, involved business. You can't just wake up one day and go, oh, I want to do voiceover. It doesn't happen that way.
Fantastic.
It would be nice, but and there are some that really make it and some that don't. But you got to keep with it if that's what you want to do. Keep with it.
It's interesting you say keep with it, because I read the other day that Kevin Hart received a no almost once a month for 19 years. And now he's the highest grossing, comedic actor in the movies now. So we definitely have to, keep it pushing forward. And when you hear no, you hear a lot of no in love, right?
Yeah,
There's always the guy who doesn't get the girl, or the girl who's trying to chase after, the jock in the movie or in the book that you read. What advice do you give for those people out there that are constantly hearing no from love?
There is somebody out there for you. It may take some time for you to get there, but there is somebody out there just for you. Just for you.
I want to go back to the book just so that people can find it.
Okay.
So how do we get the book?
The book is available on Amazon, BarnesandNobles.com, and Kobo, which I just found out is Rakuten. Did you know that, Donyshia? Kobo is Rakuten. So yeah, but most people are either buying it. First, they were buying it from me, and they still can buy it from me. It should be up on both my websites soon, but you can buy it from me, and I'll send it to you directly.
Also, how do we find out more information about you?
To find out more about me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. My email is venuscruté@gmail.com, so you can contact me. I mean, it's so funny, Donyshia. If you Google Venus, I'm amazed at the stuff that comes up. Okay, I'm like, oh Lord, okay. So, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
So be specific in your typing.
Yes.
Yeah, make sure you spell the name right. I mean, if you put, I still have the handle Venus 987, and I remember one of our radio colleagues said to me, "Well, why don't you change that?" I'm like, "Why? That's who people knew me by, so why?" You know, if you can't find me, by anything, if you put that in, it'll come up.
Now, what's a final thought you'd like to share with myself and Ray and our audience out here? What's a final thought about shades of love?
You know, I'm going to wrap that shades of love into the final thought that I always say at the end of my broadcast. So again, make sure that you just keep looking. There is a love out there for you. You're going to go through twists and turns, but those twists and turns make you find out who you are and what you want. Now, it's never too late to live your dreams. And when you do, I'll be there encouraging you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like to leave you with DB's philosophy. True love stories never have an ending.
Okay.
We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, your co-hosts and producers. Visit nccradio.org for more information. We are available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.